Hi everyone. What I'd like to do is just speak to you about what I want to do with my channel and see where it goes from there. I've actually tried this once in the past and I'd never published the footage. I did speak a little bit earlier while I was down the woods, but then it was just me speaking for the sake of speaking while the cooking was happening. So I thought I'd just do a video and try and stick to the subject. What is my channel? Where is it going? Okay everyone, I thought I'd just give you an idea of the things that's coming to mind that I want to do, because every time I do a video about it, it never seems to be great. And there's nothing professional about this. This is for those who are already subscribed and the ones that are coming. It's just another video in passing until I do a proper new trailer for the channel, which I'd like to work on. But this is the idea where that trailer is going to compromise from and where the future of my channel is going to be going. So let me give you an idea here what we're looking at. Prophecy Prepper. I'll see in my hands here it's the bottom. I might be losing the bottom there, but I'll get down, that's fine. It's just I'm looking in the reflection of the mirror behind the camera. So Prophecy Prepper, let's look at the prophecy first and what's entailing with that. The Marian Apparitions, which is going to be the main source. A few I've already got on just now in a playlist. Basically for me it begins in Fatima. It goes through a few different ones, such as Garabandal, Akita, Japan from the 60s and the 70s, and which is going to finalise in Medjugorje. That is the main frame of the journey of the century from 1917 until where we're at just now. There's going to be other ones put in there which I think when it comes to world affairs, such as some prophecies that are starting to feel more real to believe, that comes from the Irish visionary and mystic stigmatist Christina Gallagher. Although she's not been approved by the church and I haven't followed her for quite some time, many of her messages in a lot of way are about doom and gloom, but she has many witnesses, including those like in places of being judges and doctors and things like that, where they witnessed her saying 2 years to the day before the 9/11 catastrophe happened with the World Trade Centers, she predicted that they would be coming down, and that happened. She also predicted sometime round about then, about seeing a tsunami type wave hitting Ireland and possibly the UK. I have to get more revision done when it comes to her because it's been so long. But the reason it pushed me into doing this again is just something I shared on Prophecy Prepper's Facebook page, is the amount of earthquakes that have been happening around about the Canary Islands, and about how a big large part of land, I don't know if it's off Tenerife or one of the other ones, that if that lands in the water at the height and speed it's going and what could generate, it's actually very much looking like a tsunami type wave could hit Britain. So that triggered that memory, which I'll need to do a presentation on. But again, this comes into current affairs of world affairs, not just what's happening between America and the West and the East, what's going on with North Korea. Is that going to be the trigger for Russia to get into Europe and China into Asia, as a prophecy foretold? The fact that we're living in the times of now 100th anniversary of Fatima, the last number Pope of Malachi, and this Pope, Pope Francis, who I'm not speaking out against in any way, but recently in light of the filial response of many in the church for him to watch or amend one of his recent encyclicals, because a lot of things he's starting to say are controversial to church teaching and the magisterium. So it takes back to Fatima, where the Pope was shot with guns and arrows, and many take the arrows as a sign of apostasy, attack of the faith, stemming from Ephesians 6, where we put on the shield of faith against the fiery arrows of the devil. When you see the Pope being shot with the arrows, many interpret that different ways. But again, as soon as you see things that's happening in the world all coming together, I start triggering about these memories of things that I've read and looked at over the years. Now, when it comes to the world affairs, thought of World War III, Russia and China. I want to get into the vlogging with that. Not too much of Alex Jones style, but there's going to be the cases of maybe some live viewing, proper presentation on the vlogging when it comes to it, something quite, what's the word, something quite apparent or quite serious, shall we say, then I want to get on a quick vlog about it straight away and why I'm doing it and what that might mean for the things putting together. So that's the things I can think of right now coming from the prophecy side, world affairs, World War III, one world government, you name it, it's all in this side of it. So we better be prepared for it. So we come to the prepper side. The one thing on the top of my mind right now, and I've neglected it for the last 3 years, is bushcraft. Bushcraft skills, bushcraft knowledge, and what I've got under the skills here, anything from like hunting to making fire, etc. Knowing exactly how to gut the animals and things like that as well, when it's a good time to eat them, when it's not, same with trees and plants. The last couple of days looking at trees, just with the free apps, which I'll show in another time, basically really starts making you think, and it opens up a whole new way of looking at the woods, or even looking at the trees round about the roads that we're travelling through each day, especially in autumn now. The colours, the leaves all different trees. Why are some better there, why are some better over there? What's the difference, what's the purposes for them? From fire, hardwood, softwood, from medicinal purposes, edible plants, etc., berries, wild food. So I want to really cover that, getting into the books, watching the YouTube professionals out there that really got that covered. That's coming big time. Next thing with the prepping, the surplus of necessities covering your food, water and shelter, tools, equipment. Basically, if you get in this wardrobe over here, it's a little bit of clothing and a whole load of camping and cooking and prepping, basically whatever's in there for me to get about in the days. I've watched some great documentaries on, even that made it to the TV, as the ones on YouTube, and how families and parents have got their land, they're growing chickens or rabbits, they have fish ponds, growing their own fish, but at the same time the water from that is doing something with all their own plants and things. I'd love to do all that. All that's within this stuff. Bug out locations and preparation, so basically scouting places to go if some trouble hits us. Are there going to be a nuclear strike in Faz Lane? There's not been the first time Russian submarines have been spotted coming up the Clyde, you know, so if it's that case, then I need to get far away from where I'm at, in between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Is it going to just be the case of economic collapse? Is it going to be riots like we saw down in England a couple of years ago? Is it best to be in this house with this stuff? Should I have cachet points in certain places that I've scouted? All this that I'm looking into, all this I'm going to be making videos on. Living off the grid, basically. Bushcraft will be needed for that. Where it's in the woods, up the hills, what season. So then it comes on to the things. We get the things done, we've got the knowledge, we're out there, and what happens if we have to defend our own things when everyone's in a worst case scenario fighting for survival? We need self-defence. And right here to the side of me, I've made myself a Wing Chun dummy. I used to do judo, taekwondo and then aikido over the years, from about 5 to about I was 16. And I had a little bit of boxing in there and a bit of mixed martial arts recently, and it's been a few years since really doing anything. In fact, the best part of a decade. I always say a few years. But I've got the bug to get back into it, just having a bit of that confidence and skill and really feeling it the way I used to, because I really enjoyed myself when it, like the taekwondo, I felt really fit. I was too young for judo, but aikido I completely love. Watching how you can, like Steven Seagal throwing them about and stuff, but a lot of other people out there as well doing it. So self-defence, fitness, I need to get back to the gym, I need to get it right, which comes in with a bit of nutrition. I was even thinking of making an own channel to do with fitness and nutrition, we'll see what happens, but a little bit mixed in with this. Wild camping. it's already a done deal on this channel. Of course I'm all over Scotland, which I love, and I want to see so much more of it, so that ain't going anywhere. But if I ever get other places like Prague or back to Rome, some videos I've got in there from Prague and places, that'll be getting covered. Everything I buy and use, from the microphone just now to the Wing Chun dummy, the new tent, equipment reviews, all getting covered. And finally, my debut. So finally, before the camera cut off there, didn't realise, the last thing to speak about is cooking videos down the bottom there. I did my debut cooking video this morning, down the woods, making a mini Scottish breakfast. And it wasn't a mini one, maybe a full one will come sooner or later. But a good way to start the day down the woods, which I really enjoyed. Before wrapping up a last request or anything, I want to just take a moment to say that I have been quite hesitant about bringing this stuff up, especially the prophecy side, because it brings in a bit of faith, it brings in a bit of maybe conspiracy theory, as some may think. If you're not of faith, or if you're not in the church, or you don't bother with anything of prophecies, as soon as you hear the word prophecy you think conspiracy, Mayan calendar, or something from way back in ancient civilization. That ain't what the case is here. It's approved apparitions by the church itself. It's ones that are under investigation, and certain ones that don't have a judgment on it now, but certain things, what's been predicted to me, fit in the jigsaw puzzle. But it's my opinion, based on lots of reading, revision, studies, and keeping up to date with a lot of things. It's something I'm very much into, although I don't make it my focus to do with my faith, that's something else, but it's something I'm very much going to keep bringing. But like I says, I have been a little hesitant. The reason being, it's not that I'm ashamed of what I believe in or anything. At the end of the day, YouTube, broadcast yourself. That's all I'm doing, is everyone else is herself. All this stuff's staying, this stuff's coming in with a few extra bits, and I want to just keep in with Prophecy Prepper. It needs to live up to the name. So through a time, the last few years, I basically studied to be a priest. For 4.5 years I was living in Rome at a seminary. I left there after 4 years of feeling quite unhappy. It wasn't all what I was expecting it to be. From the years building up to it, I was very much sincere with my faith, and making that big decision to take away the idea of family and kids, to go and do that. I had years building up to it. I had a year in community beforehand, which was focused on a life as such, and I loved it. But for me, Rome and I never agreed, and I feel as if the diocesan side of the priesthood didn't agree with me. I didn't agree with that. Rome was very diplomatic, it was very egotistic, and I don't mean that towards anybody in particular. It just didn't feel the heart of the church, which I experienced in places such as in pilgrimages, or even in monasteries, where I did a few visits here and there, from Franciscans to Carthusians. I spent 4.5 years in Rome, 2 of which was in philosophy, and then into theology, with everything underneath that, from Nicomachean ethics to ancient Greek philosophy, to St. Thomas Aquinas and his commentary on Aristotle's physics, to Latin and Greek, and Bible studies and moral theology. You're getting taught by the man who looks over the Pope's speeches before he goes on. He teaches you for an hour and then he goes away to the Pope. You're getting some other, mainly the Dominicans at the Angelicum University where I studied. Some great times, great experiences, and great people. Even shook Pope Benedict's hand once. So the reason I'm saying that is because it's not to give me credit or anything, because I am not a scholar, I am not a professional Marianologist or anything. I just want to bring something which is quite dear to me, and something I'm attracted to. This as much as I am to bushcraft and camping and getting up the hills of Scotland and things. It's who I am, it's broadcasting myself, which YouTube is. But I've just been slightly hesitant for the reason being, the last few years I couldn't get out to do as much as I wanted to with, in terms of the camping and the sightseeing and the bushcraft. I come home, a lot of personal things were happening round about me. I get into quite a bad depression, stress, all these things I wanted to do, but in the end I couldn't do it. That made me feel worse. Lots of anxiety, and I fell away a bit from the church. But until recently, I'm back in, and it's no surprise coming in the time that it is with the 100th anniversary of Fatima. I know she's looking after me. But if you're not a person of faith or belief, then that's fine. You don't have to be. This isn't for you or for anyone. It's for everyone, I should say, sorry. It's for everyone, just as this stuff is here on this list. But I've been a little hesitant, as I keep saying, because the channel has been established now for about 2 or 3 years. It seems to be all about the wild camping, which I want to keep, but have other paths. And this is where all this stuff in the list are coming from. So don't be getting swayed too much with this, because I know my audience will be very much with this side, but the prepping has to have a reason for it. So some of these preppers out there are preparing for whatever's hitting the fan, economic collapse, martial law, World War III. So am I, but why am I thinking that? I can't just base it on what's getting fed in the news, because it's orchestrated in so many ways. It has to have a credential, it has to have a source, and that's where this comes in. So it's not going to be just an opinion, it's going to be revised, it's going to be studied, it's going to be given off something from that what comes. So I don't want to be hesitant, because I'm not embarrassed of my faith or my belief or who I am, but the hesitancy is there only because I feel that my channel has been somewhat established, but it's only been wild camping. I haven't even touched the bushcraft and the prepping yet, let alone this stuff. So the hesitancy is because the little amount of audience I have right now compared to others out there. I think I'm 640 subscribers to date. Those 640 subscribers are used to this, and they might not be so much used to that, but don't worry, there's going to be plenty of everything. And of course there's a bigger market out there for the other side of things anyway, so I'm not hesitant. It's just the case of when it is still small, it's a feeling of close-knit, as we say. I reply to most comments, I get good interaction with people on the Facebook page. If I get good photographs, I try and keep that for Instagram, getting certain followers on that. So the hesitancy is because, in a way, I'm rocking the boat, I believe, with bringing all this stuff to come. But I have to live up to the channel name, I have to be myself, and that's what I'm going to do. So thank you so far for your support. Thank you for all the positive comments. Thanks for following me so far where we're at, and I do hope that you stay with me as this channel takes a new life and several paths, all living up to the name Prophecy Prepper.